with how subtle it is. Like Adventureland, Frontierland in the Magic Kingdom feels like a proper land, rather than a small themed corner like in Disneyland. I don't really have much to say about it other than I appreciate how extensive its facades are. I enjoy Pecos Bill as a restaurant, not because the food is remarkable, but rather for its western theming. I would also like to point out that I enjoy the seating area themed as a Mexican town under the night sky, which is one of the fun, little atmospheric Disney flourishes of the past that goes underappreciated today. In terms of attractions, when Splash Mountain was open, I did prefer the Magic Kingdom version just because it got you significantly less wet than in Disneyland, which I anticipate will likely be the case once it reopens as Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Big Thunder Mountain, on the other hand, is definitely lesser experienced than its Disneyland counterpart, as the track is significantly rougher, and the scenes are generally less interesting, although some of them are unique to this version, which is a plus. It's also worth mentioning that Tom Sawyer Island is larger and has more to do than Pirate's Lair in Disneyland, and even still has its fort open, which includes some of the oldest sets and animatronics that you can still witness. Judging from how rudimentary they are, I suspect that these sets have probably existed almost completely unchanged since 1971, so it really does feel a bit like stepping back in time. As a child, I didn't really notice the transition from Liberty Square into Frontierland, but here I want to highlight that they're connected in a clever way, which only really adds to how well they blend together. If you start from the Haunted Mansion and travel along the facades on the river to the end of Frontierland, the buildings architecturally reflect the transition from the early American colonies into the architecture of the West, slowly changing from the early 1800s with the Diamond Horseshoe to represent St. Louis, transitioning to the logs of the Colorado Rockies for the building hosting the Country Bear Jamboree, and advancing west and in time until you reach the southwest theming of Pecos Bill. This isn't just reflected architecturally, but in the building numbers, which designate years as they advance through time. I also want to mention that I appreciate the Country Bear Jamboree for the weirdness that it was, and while Disney has promised that they're going to bring it back and have the bears now singing Disney songs, I'm really hoping that they don't actually run it. If so, that'll be a pretty significant loss for the history of this park. Transitioning into Liberty Square, I think that this is actually one of the most underrated lands and is often forgotten because it feels like there isn't much to do. I was considering perhaps doing a more in-depth video discussing the culture and history represented here, so I won't go into too much depth, but I want to point out that I appreciate the colonial architecture and the many callbacks to the American Revolution. The Hall of Presidents is also another underrated attraction, one that is disregarded because people often joke that it's boring, but I very much disagree. In fact, I find it to be a fascinating show because it manages to elevate the office of the President of the United States in a way that isn't partisan. That's a really difficult dance to do, especially when you consider that the office has been inhabited by many outright bad men who are on showcase here, and unlike the sappy 1980s nationalism of the American Adventure in Epcot, the Hall of Presidents has been updated to fit contemporary tastes, as in, it's actually really entertaining, and it evokes a sense of nationalism that's actually quite inspirational without any partisan allegiance. Liberty Square is also notable for its colonial-themed restaurants, and of course, the highlight is the Haunted Mansion, which, if compared to Disneyland's version, I think that this is easily the better ride. As a matter of personal preference, while I like the plantation-style house of Disneyland's New Orleans Square, I very much prefer the colonial house of Liberty Square. If you've watched my older video where I discussed the history and culture of the ghost story that inspired the Haunted Mansion, then you might recall just how heavily many of its scenes are based on Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House. The colonial facade in the Magic Kingdom definitely evokes gothic horror a lot better than in New Orleans Square, and so that's why I prefer it because it's a lot more architecturally interesting and foreboding. However, if we speak about the ride portion itself, I think that most people will agree that it's just simply executed better. For example, the load station has the Doom buggies pull up into a hallway in the actual house, rather than the strange black void of the Disneyland version. In Magic Kingdom, the ride also contains additional scenes, which includes the hallway with the changing portraits and the library with the moving busts, both of which are just small queue elements of the Disneyland version. Magic Kingdom also has a scene dedicated just to the piano player, who is otherwise an element of Disneyland's attic, and it also includes the MC Escher-inspired staircase scene, which is absent from Disneyland's mansion entirely. The colonial house is not without its negatives, as I'm really not a fan of the hitchhiking ghosts having been replaced with projections over physical effects, and the Hatbox Ghost placement is a really good example of how contemporary Disney destroys theming in favor of merchandise sales. Simply put, he's in the wrong location because the ride makes a point to only have the ghosts reveal themselves after Leota's seance. And the point of the Hatbox Ghost is that he exists in the attic because, well, that's where you would store an actual Hatbox, which is part of the gag. Reportedly, the Hatbox Ghost was intended to go into the attic before structural issues were discovered, but since Hatbox Ghost merchandise was selling well in the Magic Kingdom even before his inclusion, I can only conclude that the company is so money hungry that they were willing to break the theming just to attempt to make a quick buck, which, now that I say it, is actually not at all surprising. Still, despite the flaws of this version of the ride, I still think that it's easily better because of its additional scenes, and personally, I very much prefer the scariness of the house facade. If you've been watching my channel for a while, then you might recall a video from a few years ago where I highlighted just how broken Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland is. One of its largest issues that I pointed out is that it lacks the small, pretzel-style dark rides of Disneyland's Fantasyland, which both add charm and capacity to that park. I had quite a few issues to point out and conceptualize some solutions, but for being the main draw to the most popular theme park in the world, I wondered, why is Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland so underwhelming? Well, despite that being the case, and you can go watch that video if you really want to see me dig into the issues of the land, I would rather be mostly positive for this video and highlight the things that I do actually like about it. First, while a lot of people have complained that the Tangled themed bathrooms are a disappointing waste of potential because they could have been a ride instead, I will say that while that would have been cool, the area is pleasant and well themed. Or at least pleasant when it's not a parking lot for strollers and ECVs. Peter Pan as a ride is fine, one that doesn't deserve the wait time it always has, and also desperately needs updates that the Disneyland version received a long time ago. Still, the update to the queue for the new Fantasyland project is pretty cool, and the ride is still a classic, even if it is in need of a few changes. Mickey's PhilharMagic is a decent show, one that absorbs a lot of crowds, and despite the poor food quality, I have always at least appreciated the theming and atmosphere of the Pinocchio Village House. Another plus is that it has the windows that look down into the load station of It's a Small World, which is less impressive to me as an adult, but is something that I found to be really cool as a child. Skipping over Small World for now though, I want to mention that The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is a decent ride, and while I've had pretty strong thoughts on how Seven Dwarfs Mine Train fails as both an interesting experience and as a coaster, at the very least, it is pretty and adds a bit of kineticism to the area. In general, New Fantasyland is aesthetically very pleasant, ranging from the French mountains with the Beast's Castle to Prince Eric's Castle and the Mediterranean-inspired queue for Journey of the Little Mermaid. The ride, while it has its issues, often seems to get a lot of undeserved criticism thrown towards it, and in my opinion, is a nice opportunity to get into the air conditioning and away from crowds as it often has a pretty minimal wait. It's not spectacular, but essentially acts as a high-budget seat ticket that absorbs parkgoers pretty well. Unfortunately, while New Fantasyland is quite aesthetically appealing, that's about the best that it has to offer. Enchanted Tales with Belle is a decent distraction for kids, and Be Our Guest, while a fantastic restaurant in terms of theming, follows in the Magic Kingdom tradition of just serving incredibly mediocre food. I'm willing to look past the food quality though, because Disney really did manage to create such an aesthetically interesting restaurant, which really makes me wish that many areas of Fantasyland were just as grand and immersive on this scale. If there's one solid strength of Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland though, it is definitely this park's version of It's a Small World. I certainly won't say that it's better than Disneyland's version, as I really appreciate their inclusion of North America as a continent, and their lengthier, more detailed scenes, but what makes this ride interesting is just how different it is across all of the Disney parks. While many elements are shared across the many scenes of these rides, they're all executed in very different ways, and so without getting into the lengthy details about what exactly is different, it's still a big factor in what makes the Magic Kingdom version of this ride unique. For example, between both this park and Disneyland, you can see that the scene dedicated to France features both the Eiffel Tower and cabaret dancers, but the style, perspective, and scene design are very different, making them both interesting in their own way. While I think that most people prefer the grand facade of Disneyland's version to the covered queue and load station of the Magic Kingdom, there is something magically different about this that still has a lot of merit to it. It may not be as grand, but still has its own sense of atmosphere and charm. Another difference, and one that I prefer, is that the Magic Kingdom boats move through an actual waterway rather than just an elevated trough like in Disneyland, which is a relic of the ride as it premiered at the 1964 New York World's Fair. There's something about traveling through the connected waterway that makes the Magic Kingdom version feel a lot larger, so while I don't mind Disneyland's trough, this is still a plus. I know this may be sacrilege to many, but I also prefer the ending scene of the Magic Kingdom version as well. In comparison to Disneyland, the scene here has a lot more kinetic visual elements like the hot air balloons, the various rides, and the steamboat that create more distinct and memorable pieces of iconography to latch onto. This isn't to say that Disneyland's finale isn't great, but it's very different and lacks the epic scale seen in the Magic Kingdom. Again, I do prefer the Disneyland version of the ride for many reasons, but what makes the Magic Kingdom great is just how uniquely different its interpretation is. To wrap up Fantasyland, I do consider Storybook Circus to be its own thematic extension, but still firmly part of the land, and while its closest thematic comparison is Disneyland's Toontown, which is easily the more interesting land, I still appreciate Storybook Circus for what it is. I think its largest benefit to the park is not only moving Dumbo out of a crowded area of Fantasyland, but also cloning it to double capacity. It was also built in that era where Disney was experimenting with interactive queue elements of the park, so while the indoor playground probably leads to issues with children not wanting to leave, it is at least a somewhat interesting thematic addition that adds to the queue experience. I am also a fan of Goofy's Barnstormer, as it's probably the perfect introduction to a coaster for younger kids, offering the right amount of thrill but not being too long. While the theming isn't particularly strong, I always appreciate what's there and how it fits into the circus theme. Otherwise though, Storybook Circus is really just dressing for meet and greets, and while I wish that there was more, perhaps another flat ride or two, I think it's a decently themed area in its own right, even if it's underwhelming when compared to Toontown. Overall, while Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland, the primary reason for visiting the park, is rather weak, I do think that it does have those redeeming elements worth mentioning. At the very least, it does have unique interpretations of other Castle Park attractions, and the new Fantasyland portion works well aesthetically, even if it leaves you wanting more. If there's one place where Magic Kingdom outshines all the other castle parks, it is certainly with Tomorrowland. While not without its problems either, as the theater for Stitch's Great Escape has sat empty for 6 years, and the Tomorrowland Speedway is probably the worst version of Autopia, there are still a lot of redeeming qualities to this land that easily allow it to stand out as the best version. First, the land aesthetically has been slowly going through a refurb for quite a while now, replacing the 90s steampunk elements in favor of something sleek and with a lot more color. Progress is slow, but certainly better than nothing. While once again, I have to mention the absolute poor food quality of Magic Kingdom, I do generally have a positive opinion of Cosmic Ray's Starlight Cafe, just because it includes Sunny Eclipse, who has been rising out of the stage since 1995. The idea of putting an animatronic in a restaurant is an old relic from an era where Disney really cared about delighting you in every corner of their parks, and so even if I don't eat here because it's essentially just chicken strips and overdone burgers, I at least appreciate Sunny as a weird, quirky novelty of the past. Moving on, I want to mention that I casually enjoy Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor and Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin as mid-tier attractions that soak up a lot of park capacity. They are never a bad time, although they are both dated and could probably benefit from being replaced with more interesting or exciting attractions. However, where Tomorrowland really shines is with its classics, and I think the best place to start is with the Carousel of Progress. Obviously, this show isn't a huge draw for most park crowds, but it's certainly highly desirable for parks fans because it's so well made and full of charm. Even the complaints that its ending scene is outdated don't really resonate with me, because while yes, that may be true, that's also part of what makes it interesting. I don't really care that a car phone or voice-activated house appliances are outdated novelties, but I do appreciate the humor and the irony of putting them on display. It's not really important to the attraction to anticipate specific technology anymore, and the priority should be its optimism for progressing everyone's quality of life, which I think it conveys pretty well. So sure, it could use updates, but I'm perfectly fine with the attraction as the classic that it is. Another underrated classic of the Magic Kingdom is of course the People Mover, which really does benefit from its simplicity. It adds a lot of kinetic effect to the land from the ground in conjunction with the Astro Orbiter, the Tomorrowland Speedway, and now Tron, and as an attraction, it's just a pleasant opportunity to sit down and experience the land in some small scenes while not really waiting in line. It's cool seeing into shops and attractions, it's cool to get unique views of Tomorrowland, it's cool to see part of the original Epcot model, and it's cool to travel into the tranquil darkness of Space Mountain. The People Mover is simple and could perhaps benefit from having a few more scenes, but you can't really beat just sitting down and relaxing while a pleasant breeze cools you off. It's unfortunate that Disneyland's People Mover was destroyed, but this is sadly another big plus for Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland. A bit more divisive, however, is the land's 2 coasters. I won't say that Tron is a bad ride, but it definitely feels very disconnected from the rest of the land. I think that myself and a lot of other people have agreed, though, that Tron is generally underwhelming. It's a lot of flesh and no substance. I'm not angry that it's in Magic Kingdom, mostly because it didn't replace a good ride like Disney usually loves to do, but it's also a clear example of Disney's aggressive mediocrity that plagues its attractions today. It's just fine, and soaks up a decent number of people. However, where I think that things might get controversial is with Magic Kingdom's Space Mountain, as it's my favorite version of the ride. While conceptually similar to pretty much every other Space Mountain, what makes Magic Kingdom so unique, and therefore quite thrilling, is that, as the first, it was very much designed as a spiritual successor to the Matterhorn bobsleds. I can see why people would prefer Disneyland Space Mountain with its fantastic onboard audio and synchronized projection effects, but what it lacks is the thrilling, almost unbanked turns and sudden, unpredictable drops of Magic Kingdom. It may not be as intense as the inversions of Disneyland Paris' version of the ride, but the strong lateral Gs and frequent uncomfortably close head choppers offer a unique thrill not really found elsewhere. I can also see people disliking the seating, but the single file low to the ground arrangement really accentuates the chaos. Also, the queue and load area, while not very detailed, at least have a unique sense of atmosphere that is unique to this version of the ride. I can certainly see why most people might prefer Disneyland Space Mountain, especially as it's a more focused, show effect based experience, but in terms of rewritability, I find that I prefer the Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is certainly not a perfect park, and one where you can find a lot of flaws if you really take the time to look for them. Its Fantasyland is underbuilt and pretty underwhelming. Main Street USA lacks a lot of intimate detail that you'll find at Disneyland. Pirates of the Caribbean is a shortened version of what you'll find elsewhere, missing a lot of iconic scenes. Still, while the flaws may be apparent, I'm still very much a defender of what this park has to offer. I'm of the opinion that it has the best version of the Jungle Cruise, the Haunted Mansion, and at least has a unique version of Space Mountain not found elsewhere. It also has exclusive attractions like the Hall of Presidents and the Carousel Progress, but while New Fantasyland leaves something to be desired, I don't think that you can really deny what it adds aesthetically. Even if better versions of attractions are found elsewhere, I can still appreciate this park's unique take on It's a Small World, Big Thunder Mountain, or the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, among others. There's a lot of merit to the most visited theme park in the world, and so I have to ask, why have people chosen to voice actual hatred for it? Well, I can certainly see why people would prefer other castle parks, especially as I prefer Disneyland, and so it makes the Magic Kingdom an easy target, pointing out its flaws when compared to the others. But why do people choose to overlook its positive aspects, when even I, someone who is often cynical about the state of Disney, can find a lot of good things to highlight? Well, I certainly won't blame someone for having Magic Kingdom the lowest on their list, if that's truly their opinion, but I do think that a lot of harsh criticism for the park is just people choosing to be contrarian just to be contrarian. It takes a lot of effort to overlook the positive aspects of this park, and at a time when Disney leadership is attempting to destroy a lot of what made their parks interesting and unique, the Magic Kingdom still stands pretty strong. So, do people really express this weird, vitriolic hatred for the Magic Kingdom just because they can? Yeah, I think it's just a trendy internet thing to do right now, and ultimately, it's not any deeper than that. In writing this script and exploring the park and its attractions, I really just wanted an excuse to talk about the positive elements I like about the park, because that's something that I just don't do very often. I feel that I'm often too focused on the negatives of the Disney company, and while I think that it's justified criticism, I rarely talk about the things that I do like about their parks, and Magic Kingdom certainly deserves to be viewed in a more positive light. So perhaps the next time that you see someone pretending that this is the absolute worst park that they've ever been to, maybe send them this video, because I feel that I made a pretty strong case that the park isn't just great, but often offers unique experiences not found elsewhere, and has a handful of rides and lands that you could argue are the best versions among the castle parks. So that wraps things up, and if you watched through the video and generally agree with the positives I've highlighted, you can do me a favor by leaving a like to give the video more exposure. As always, if you enjoy videos like these, but have not yet hit the subscribe button with bell notifications,
Right there! Right there!
Flooding them!
Grounded.
Robbie, welcome to the Bernie Bro Therapy Hour. This is what we do on the show. I know you've listened before, but basically this is a safe space for alpha male brochalists to yell our feelings about having our beautiful Bernie be cheated out of the presidency.
My beautiful boy!
Be cheated out of the presidency by a goddamn woman.
How could they do that to him?
I have been called an honorary Bernie Bro of the libertarian movement, just so you know.
How is that possible? How are you an honorary Bernie Bro of the libertarian movement?
I have written that there was a libertarian case for Bernie, especially as opposed to all other candidates of either party or political persuasion, on the kind of the basis of his foreign policy being less muscular than virtually everyone else.
Right, but I saw recently you've hopped aboard the Gary Johnson train. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, now that we have an actual libertarian guy, yeah, I'm not a fan of his terrible lack of charisma when he's presenting his ideas, but I like the guy.
Whoa, did you not see the town hall on CNN? That was electric shit. Him and Bill Weld looking like a couple of your uncles getting drunk on the porch. It was riveting.
Drunk or high or whatever else, and my expectations for this thing were so low, you would not believe how low they are, and he still did not even come close to meeting them, so I was bummed.
Robbie, actually, I mean, the reason we invited you on the show is because a couple weeks back you wrote an article at the Reason blog that cited the show that was sort of based on something that was actually something I said on the show. And this was about the Peter Thiel Gawker case. And the headline of the piece was, "If a left-wing Peter Thiel sued a right-wing Gawker, liberals would cheer. They said so." And I was the person saying so. So that's, I guess I'd like to begin by bringing this up. You write in the piece, if a left-wing version of Peter Thiel was using his billions to fund lawsuits against the right-wing news organizations, some liberals wouldn't utter a word of criticism. Worse than that, they would cheer this development. They're even admitting it. And that's when you get into what I said. And I was responding to a tweet you did stating just that. And I took it to heart, and I decided to admit, rather than play along and devote myself to the principle of freedom of the press and that billionaires shouldn't use lawsuits to tinker with freedom of speech or journalistic outfits they dislike. I decided to keep it 100 and just say flat out that I basically wouldn't care if someone bankrupted the Weekly Standard or National Review. And I will note that my co-host basically disagreed with me. And I guess what I want to ask is, I admitted as I was saying it that I'm being hypocritical. So I have no complaints with anything that you presented in the article, but I guess I just want to ask you, why does this hypocrisy on my part matter in your opinion? Because it seems like a small one to me.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter in the sense that it's your opinion and you're entitled to it, and I think it's a fine opinion, and I applauded your consistency. But I was more talking to my people who read me, people who I interact with on Twitter, who, you know, care about free speech and are care about it regardless of which side you respect more. I thought this was an interesting example of, I mean, left kind of the importance of free speech to the left and all that, and this was an example where, I mean, I've criticized the ACLU for some kind of things where, well, I think this is a civil liberty you should be protecting, and they're not really doing it, so I like to point out things like that, I guess. I mean, your opinion, I get what you're saying, and that's fine that, you know, organizations that don't represent your views and that you think are doing bad things, and I have plenty of criticisms of National Review and the Weekly Standard. My own should be, you know, it would be kind of better if they just didn't exist. I just don't. I guess I'm worried about. I'm worried about what happened to Gawker too. But I don't like them very much, so I'm worried about living in that world. And I mean, I'm a libertarian. I like to be principled and consistent about it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. And I guess if there was any point of disagreement, really, in the article you wrote, it comes in a sentence where you say, after you quote me, you said, "It's refreshing to see such honesty, I suppose." And the sentence I would take issue with is when you said, "Libertarians don't believe the legal system should be set up so that rich people can use it to censor speech that they dislike." And is that true? Because to me, it doesn't seem like libertarian politics would be opposed to a legal system in which rich people could censor speech they don't like.
I think it depends how you're defining libertarians. I mean, some people you might define as libertarians probably would be okay with that, including like Peter Thiel, who at some point in some way kind of described himself as a libertarian. I don't really think he is a libertarian. I mean, he's a Trump backer now, and Trump is not a libertarian. So, but yeah, I guess I was talking about myself and like the people that I'm letting in the libertarian club, as narrowly defined as that is.
Okay, well,
I see it's our old friend, No True Scotsman. Hello.
Sure.
So, well, to that end, I mean, how do you define a libertarian? Who are you letting in the club?
I'm not a dogmatic sort of. You have to agree that all aggression is wrong. I just think government should be limited in most ways and smaller in most ways than we have it now. Is how I define libertarianism. No sort of philosophical, you have to accept this or think this. It's just kind of thinking that the world is usually better off if we have less government coercion in our lives.
Private coercion is 100, though. Trill is AF.
Yeah, I mean,
often they use the government to bring about that coercion. I mean, then what Peter Thiel's doing is like a good example of that, or abusing the quasi-governmental legal system, or whatever you want to call it.
But you know, in a libertarian politics in which there is the scope of the government is reduced, or we have less government, there's less government regulation and oversight of things. Doesn't that sort of naturally into that vacuum is filled by private actors who would see their reach and scope of power increase in the absence of a strong federal government? So
maybe, but I don't really know if that is true. I mean, certainly it'll be true some of the time, but I mean, I'd see lots of cases where the existence of regulation just makes it possible and easier for very powerful private interests to kind of steer that regulation in favorable ways to them. So having much more regulation and much more oversight, I mean, it's still being handled by people who are in the pockets of powerful, wealthy interests, private interests. So I mean, that's a problem too, I guess. You know, we're talking in like very broad philosophical, libertarian versus non-libertarian sort of. I mean, this is not like a specific thing, but
I mean, I guess like not broadly or abstractly, but I think practically speaking, I think where, you know, my problem with the libertarian worldview is that, I mean, aside from the fact that I think it's kind of a niche brand of just the right wing worldview, which I dislike for a lot of reasons, but it's this idea that it is, in its sort of monomaniacal focus on government coercion, it seems to purposely occlude every kind of private coercion that takes place in a free marketplace, like the relationship between an employer and an employee, or or contractual relationships, for instance, which involve all sorts of coercion, and I would argue meaningful abridgments of freedom of speech and even the press as well.
When you're probably one of those people who thinks that the very existence of property is kind of like a issue that is coercion to some people, right? The pure sort of argument.
I mean, not 100%. I mean, that's more like I mean, Matt Brunig can make that argument. I can see where the argument's coming from, but I'm not like a purist on that regard. But yeah, like everything, I think the point is everything involves a little bit of coercion, but it's just a question of what you regard as just or not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's correct. But I think so. The government sphere of coercion is the one that I'm kind of like more directly responsible for, I guess, because we're in a democratic society where the government is what we all do together because we have to, and it's kind of a different, to me, category of coercion than private coercion, which can also be a problem, and often I think because of how they use the government for it. But I guess that's where the focus is. Like, this is the entity that is supposed to be that I'm actually forced to pay for to, take care of my defense and my other needs and so on and so forth. So if it's violating people's rights and it's doing bad things and it's leading to a less harmonious society, that's kind of the entity where my focus has to be. It's the one I'm responsible for. It's the one.
But what's the distinction, though? I mean, isn't none of this private accumulated wealth or property that we're talking about could exist in the absence of government? And even if you reduce the sphere of government, no libertarian that I know of calls for the government sphere to be reduced to the size that it no longer exists to maintain those relationships.
Well, I'm not saying the government should not exist. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I think most things it should be less involved in because that would be better. Is sort of my very, very broad kind of claim here.
Okay, well, what's probably like the most important area of which the government you think would have a more positive effect on our society if the government were less involved in?
The education system, the kind of drug regulations, I think even infrastructure. I think policing, it could be less involved. I'm talking about like the federal government.
Bum, 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 bum. Hello?
Match found.
Hello.
What's up?
So,
Sounds like you just woke up. Is what's up.
yeah, I don't even
Yes,
have
it is still early.
10:30 is early.
For non-us. 10:30, you're just getting out of breakfast if you go out to eat or something.
It was, yeah, okay, never mind.
Like
Fire
there.
beetles, rifle damage.
I'll get
Gotcha.
the rifle. Don't worry, I got my berth.
I go to the bathroom as well.
That was instant.
Yeah.
Man, it's
Search for the
almost
good
all the
in
games
all
I have on my
things.
Steam wishlist all
If
have
there
mixed
is none
reviews.
to be found,
Yeah, dude, I
Then
saw a
act
couple new
decisive.
ones popping, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And then I'm like, mixed reviews.
Like everything has mixed reviews.
But then I look at the reviews, and it's like, oh, thumbs up, talking about it, and I'm like, all right, this dude played it for 40 hours, like, reasonable. And then the thumbs down is like, I wish there really was like a thumb left or right, because it's not a bad game. It's just blah blah blah. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
So people are just bitching to bitch.
No. Going B. Right here.
right here.
Okay, I gotta check out the pack.
Yep, Mario's.
Later.
Sage, I need heal.
Enemy spotted.
Spike planted.
Reloading.
Shot somebody.
Enemy spotted A.
One enemy remaining.
Careful now.
Yeah, because I was
You know
looking at
what we should
that No
do?
Rest for the Wicked game.
Yeah. We should
I have that on my wish list because the early access just happened. And a lot of people, all the complaints are mainly about crafting. How they don't like that they have to keep going back looking for like berries and crap to heal because that game is the Souls-like but doesn't really have an Estus Flask style healing method. It wants you to craft heals. That also screams to me skill issue. So I
Yeah,
mean,
I think I put that on my wish list because I keep seeing it pop up. On Twitch.
yeah, and Seth was looking at it too. I think it's multiplayer.
Quartermaster here.
Right there.
Healing.
Big dynamite bundle. Ooh, I'm
Reloading.
putting a chaos bomb for the dynamite bundle.
Spike down mid.
Spikes mid. Someone's mid.
One enemy remaining.
Codemaster's in that building or the one next to it?
Outside it.
Outside it, so-
Yeah, house.
Like up here.
Flash out. Easy, mate. There can only be one hero.
Their tactics are uniquely not working for them.
When we see somebody, I need to make a conscious effort to not shoot them and send a firebug their way.
I think I hear someone in Heritage.
Yeah, there was a team that definitely spawned at Pearl. Heritage was me shooting, or throwing a chaos bomb.
Oh, it was a joke. It was you guys.
Yeah. But there definitely was a team at Pearl. Like 100% that.
Would they come here then?
Yeah,
Yeah, they probably would, right?
I'd hope so.
Did you throw chaos?
Yeah, I threw a chaos because there was a big dynamite bundle at the top and I wanted to use a chaos.
Top of what?
Spike planted. Last player standing.
There's
Oh, what?
quartermaster in there as well.
Flawless.
Oh, well.
I'm
If
staying
you must fall,
behind.
then fall near
Because
me.
if I hear them, I will fire beetle them.
No.
There's experience boon and dum dum ammo up here.
Sorry. No.
Careful here.
You just take damage, Nate?
Yeah.
Yeah, he fell. Maybe they went to Ash Creek.
That's what I'm thinking.
I feel like they would have been in town by now.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Flash out.
We need to get one of those points so we can just grab one of these envelopes and get the challenge done. I didn't think about it last when we won.
When we had 4 out of 4.
Yeah.
Clearing out.
Enemy Enemy spotted.
Watch your eyes!
Did you melee?
Yep.
One enemy remaining.
Look at my
Wait,
little
this
fire.
is the second pack of oh no.
Here.
Dude, there's
Here.
like 9 dogs in here.
You live the good life, so.
Joey, it's happening.
Here.
What? I shanked the dog and he didn't take damage?
I saw the one in here and I assumed that somewhere in here and somewhere outside, but I guess this was just a spare?
Here.
Battle
Spike
bag,
planted.
Winfield Centennial. Well, I can get it for just $500, right?
No, nothing.
$100.
Thank
Oh.
you.
It gave me a concertina bomb. Heck yeah.
A.
You guys keep looking. Whoops.
Fear me.
I'm gonna go get that fire beetle damage at poultry.
Even with numbers,
I need a
anything
drop.
can still happen. Remember that.
I need a drop.
That went right
No.
through her head.
Wait, where is the
Frustration.
boss here then? It has to be weeping.
No.
Has to be weeping. Oh, I mean, I guess, yeah.
No.
You might be able to beetle them. Ooh. Let me know if you guys see a med kit.
Oh, I feel like I hear running to my left. There's one. What was that?
Me. That
Oh,
zombie
what?
scared me. Let's just say I had my knife out. In my head.
Drop in a smoke.
I know exactly where.
Let's see if my fire beetle can reach from over here.
Spike planted.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's
we're
not
going
shot my
for the
fire
other
beetle
boss?
next to it. I was just gonna try to pepper him with fire beetles.
Yeah, you're way too far.
Flash!
Yeah, that's way too far. I thought it was a lot closer.
Here.
Man, I figured you guys take care of Scrap Peak and then I just throw fire beetles at them like crazy.
Yeah, I don't have a tool though.
Last player standing.
Like I never
Oh.
left.
What?
Gunshots east.
Last player standing.
Alright, I could throw this beetle out of the window, but I can't fly my beetle back in the window.
Horse going off.
Are those crows us?
Find the weakest link and kick him in the shin.
Nope, but they're coming from the east.
Where'd
Northeast.
my
I need a
beetle
drop.
go?
Did it drop in water?
No. I dropped it right outside this door.
Are they going into Stanley or are they going into Weaving?
Weeping.
I lost the beetle. That's a lot of crows.
Those crows were on this side. Coming towards us. Yep. They're in the
How
boss
many
room.
crows are in that town?
By that window. Oh, it was so
Oh,
close. They're shooting Scrap Peak. You can probably get in there, Joey.
Yeah.
There's an angry immolator right here, be careful.
Gonna beetle it up.
Weapon here. Be at peace.
There's so much AI.
One enemy remaining.
Danger.
Dining team's
Right
probably
here.
gonna come for us.
That was extremely quick.
They were just shooting
Do
it.
not fight us. Prepare yourselves.
They're going up to the snipe tower.
Yes.
Oh, I freaking ran it into Scrappy Flyer.
The other bounty team might be coming to us. I'm rotating.
Yeah.
I don't want to get pinched.
Where did my beetle go?
I'm
That's
ready.
two beetles I lost to nothing. I'm so annoyed. Well, looks like I'm not getting that fire beetle damage for you.
Embarrassing. My ultimate's ready.
Are they in the snipe tower, do you think?
One looked like he locked himself in the snipe tower room. The other one looked like it went downstairs.
Like all the way up, or how far?
I couldn't tell you. They closed the door on me. Couldn't beetle it.
Oof, my ult's ready.
You want more? Here's more.
One enemy remaining.
Oh gosh. I'm kinda
Spike
trolling.
down A.
Looks like I was the problem.
They can run or get run over. Their choice. Reload him.
Where's the other team?
Still in
Oh.
Western.
Yeah, they haven't moved.
Here.
Here. Hey. Mow him down.
Do you have a beetle, Joey, or no?
Nope. The game stole 2 of my beetles from me.
Don't you have another one?
I used the third one and I just scrapped the wire on the third one. Only have 3.
Done here.
I think there's a tree. I don't know. Who's throwing something?
Don't know, but I think they missed.
Have a kid.
One enemy remaining. Spike down mid.
That's another dead one.
We doing this or what?
Jeez.
Can someone get this?
I feel like they're downstairs.
I'll find their cipher.
And the bounty is up. Pretty
Come on,
sure.
let's go.
It's about to be 10%.
Nay, jeez.
Huh?
Nothing. Scare me. Oh, just ran in. Right here, Joey.
I just saw. Yep, just saw.
Enemy spotted. Met.
Oh, they closed the door on me.
Train harder. Enemy spotted A. Watch this.
Spike planted.
Enemy spotted.
What the heck? She misses 4 Winfield shots and then
I know.
Domes nukes the last one.
There's one in the window, one by Joey's body.
They're all by my
Party's
body.
over.
Oh, those are zombies. Zombies are protecting me. I could be necroed.
Lock the cipher.
Yeah, because I freaking I should have
Player
thrown the
standing.
big bomb
Big
through
guys
the
up
window
here.
instead of through the freaking
Oh
door.
yeah! Monster
They
on
closed
the
the door on me.
loose!
No peeking.
I think that was a kill. So
It was. Going for Joey. Oh, that's really
Oh, they took
unfortunate.
my. They also took my Bornheim.
Did it have bleed?
No. Oh,
Then
never
that's
mind.
not your Bornheim.
Get me in the line
dead.
of fire.
Nate's watching the body.
I'm out.
I can't shoot through that. You got
What?
res.
Joey, what distance?
feeling generous. Who needs a buy?
20, 32, 30, 28, 29, 30.
I'm going inside the
31.
house. There's so
Behind
many
me.
barrels out here.
Okay.
This should be good, right?
Yep.
Alright, necroing.
Yep. We need you to peek in
Half.
3, 2, peek.
3/4. Joey's up.
Enemy killed. Enemy spotted B. Someone's B.
I hear shooting.
Blinding!
One enemy remaining.
Enemy spotted.
Flawless.
Moses is still at Moses.
Are just
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
I think they're fighting a different team.
They're not getting the message. Leave it to me. I'll rough them up.
I'm gonna make sure these people don't run.
Reload him. Reload him. Reload him.
One run north.
No, I don't think so. Are you talking about our people or the other people?
Other people.
Bro. Spike down A.
I know exactly where you are.
Reloading.
Pretty sure there's three on
you.
the middle and bottom floor.
He pushed up.
Spike planted.
God.
Last player standing.
Oh, there's a bounty down in here.
Last round in the
I'm dead.
half.
There's a bounty down there.
They never got the res.
Spend
Oh,
all.
they said they got the rest.
Yeah, I said that one time.
We should
No, the
start
bounty
looking,
is on the floor.
like, for retakes and stuff. You don't.
Right above me. Like here.
It's just a solo.
Hit them fast. Hit them
Where?
hard.
Oh my gosh. Got domed by the freaking Dolch 96. At least I'm inside.
No way he headshot me like that.
Right there.
What?
Yep, that guy just killed all three of us with headshots on Dolches.
Spike
It wasn't a
down
headshot
mid.
on me.
It definitely was. I had full HP.
That's it, it was a headshot on Dave.
Headshot. Out of charges.
Every fucking shot on that guy? That's insane.
One enemy remaining.
Okay, well I
That's it.
did. So it was just two, and I did gone, and the body was still down.
Watch your eyes.
Oh, so there's a third person that snuck in or something.
That was a good job, Clove. That was good. That was crazy.
Yeah, nice all, nice all.
Switching sides.
I was
Actually, this guy was like a 5-star or something.
Hate waiting. Let's do this.
Literally saved me.
Oh, it couldn't have been a bounty on the ground. Most of
there.
those guys were up. It's the same team that killed us last game.
Is it?
The same exact guy who literally clean swept us. Same dude. Same exact dude. Hidden profile.
Was it only a team of two?
Yeah.
No peeking. Right here. Reloading.
Flash out.
B.
Hit. Blinding.
Who's up?
Yeah, back to back to back like that.
Yeah.
Because he did the same crap.
I was
He did the
shooting
same
at
Missed-
him while he was chasing
There's
Seth.
two here.
He missed all of his shotgun shots. I turned around to sparks him.
Spike down.
It wasn't a headshot.
Flawless.
Yeah, bro, literally defense is gonna be annoying.
This
Geckos,
team also
Vipers,
has a
Cypher.
hidden Steam profile.
Not gonna be fun.
Come in. Let's go. I got things to do.
Doing me fast. Like it took him 2 seconds.
No,
to
not going.
fire
No,
and
no, Cypher
figure
stuff
me out.
is impossible.
Not even. It took him a second to figure out where I was.
You could go A to B or just A.
King abuser.
It's not gonna be. Cypher's there all the time. He's just gonna fuck us.
Oh, at least we got the rifles done, eh? What do we need now?
Should
There.
be.
Ammo.
Alright.
Great.
I don't
I
quit.
don't know how we'll be helpful with that one.
I
Shit,
can
it's
bring
Cypher
something
tripped and
else.
died.
No, it's fine. We have the marathon.
What's that?
The new
Oh,
gun.
that's right. We do have the marathon.
Oh, the called.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Easy.
And because it's an event unlock, we actually have it unlocked.
Yeah.
Just for free, yeah.
B's free. Or no, the B's gonna be free. They're gonna rotate here.
Concussing.
Doing in-game call It's in Discord.
No, the Caldwell's free, not B. C's free.
No, the ammo is free. I mean, you still have to play Blood or $100 for it.
It's like, I feel like he has Discord like,
Muted.
For you.
yeah, muted, but he's
Yeah,
still
because every time we
in
give him
game
shit,
call
he
out.
doesn't hear us. Or doesn't respond, at least.
He will, unless you address him by name, he never listens, even if we're playing the same game. I think.
I heard that.
Look, you're acting like this is news.
I heard that.
Yeah, I know you did.
Because we're not playing the same game. That's why I heard it.
Uh-huh. Like the auto clip, like the clip you posted the other day when I was like yelling at you. I was like, Justin, she's on site. And you're like, oh really?
I didn't even see that. It was funny.
I know you didn't. What AI challenges do you have, Nate? Anything specific?
Highs with fire envelopes.
Right there.
Stupid envelopes. I finally got the flare pistol though.
Oh, wait, is it poison ammo or just poison damage?
Poison ammo.
Oh, and the fire beetle still?
Yeah.
Yeah, the game stole 2 of them.
So I can't believe that guy was still dead, and we just
Spike
didn't know.
down A.
I
He
saw
wasn't.
the dude run away from that window, like...
No, that's the thing. He wasn't still dead.
But
That
no,
had
he
to
was
have
still
been a bug.
dead.
He wasn't, because he was shooting at you from the left while the
He
guy
must have
up
ran
top.
into barbed
Spike
wire.
down
Died.
A.
Unless it was a
Last player
solo
He was
though.
standing.
under barbed wire.
I only killed him once. The barbed wire I threw as I died.
Yeah, but I swear I saw someone run from that window where you killed him. It's like, well,
They were both very much still alive, because the one dude was shooting Seth from a left while the other guy was shooting like,
Unless
same
there was a
people.
solo shooting us.
Yeah, unless there was a solo trying to pop us, that for some reason they weren't
What will it
fighting
be this
him.
time? Have any patterns emerged yet?
I'm feeling generous. Who needs a buy?
I need a drop. Let me show you how to bust
Could I have a drop? Thanks. No peeking.
Flash out! Reloaded. Blinding! Watch your eyes! Careful now. Reloaded. Gun hit. Watch your eyes!
2 mid.
Last player standing.
They think they're better than us. I can tell. Reloaded.
Watching here. For a draw.
Going up. Concussing.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Clearing out. Right there.
Drop in a smoke.
Our carrier's dead.
Spike down A.
On top of the box.
Flash out.
No peeking.
Weak.
He's not there anymore. He dropped down.
Last player standing.
Trust me, they'll know what hit them.
Reload him. Don't hold back.
Here. No peeking. No peeking.
Bilge bleed out was the thing.
Right there.
What's that?
I said Bilge bleed ammo is the thing.
Right there.
Blinding.
Someone's B.
Blocking sight. Barrier
Spike planted. Healing you.
Thank you.
My ult's ready.
Flash out.
One enemy remaining.
gun here.
You won't be serious? You got it.
I forgot. Please look over.
What needs to look over?
The catwalk.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Reload it.
Envelope? We still need it? I don't think we do.
I think we did.
What?
Blinding.
Yeah, sometimes it just phases through the freaking hub. Freaking Obito style.
Reload it.
Gun here. My ult's ready.
Reload him.
Fire in the hole!
No, you
I
don't.
see a flare gun all the way out here. I'm assuming that's Nate's shot. Southwest. Yeah. It's like out that direction.
One enemy remaining.
Down. Blocking sight.
Spike planted.
I know exactly where you are. Last player standing.
Oh my god. Oh my god, you guys both lose that. Holy Jesus.
Clutch.
My game is stuttery today.
You know, I could just outlive them.
Nah, bullets are quicker.
I mean, it's 3v1. I didn't think we were gonna have to hold. I thought if I knew you guys were gonna whiff, I would have ulted it,
Of course. What are we thinking?
Resupply.
Okay. No surety.
I have not.
Flash out.
So I have not played the past how many games?
It's kicking off somewhere.
One down.
AI is done.
Cool.
That's me.
Here. Enemy spotted mid. I'll back down.
Spike down A.
You guys throw something?
Yeah, through a chaos bomb.
Dusted.
I got the spike.
One enemy remaining.
Beatles here.
Snack time! Sorry. Only
got a
got
choke
enough
beetle.
for me.
There's a spider.
Sticky bomb. There's a sticky bomb on the floor if anybody wants it.
Doink.
We're done with hives, right?
Yeah.
Blinding!
Reloading.
Watch your eyes!
Oh my god, where do we go?
Flash out!
Red's here, red's here.
Out of charges.
Nobody's down, Justin.
Who's flying?
Spike down B. Last player standing.
Yeah, they're all pushing up.
Still in play.
You were in the... Were you not in the cart with me?
No, I went to the.
Oh, that was late.
Let them try to get through.
And I could use death pact because I'm missing a health bar again.
We need to stop going straight to B. Like, Cypher's up there is impossible to go against. Yeah, breach. Let's ult like
Through the calm, I see.
here. Let's push right side of A, just ult back
I
side.
fight.
Where's the hive that threw this hive
top.
at me?
Another red kit.
Someone's A.
Breach ult this.
Oh my god, you're level OP. She's behind the wall that I can't shoot.
Going up. Blinding!
Push in, like, we need to end C.
Spike down A. Last player standing.
One left, one main. Holy Jesus.
Match
Brother, you haven't got a
point.
kill in like 17 rounds.
Yeah, the Phoenix is fucking useless.
Like, you're not even doing your job. You're supposed to entry side and you just fucking flash.
He was
double flash
better
lane.
on defense. It's crazy.
Like, you insta-lock Phoenix and you're going 15 and 16. Don't talk. You entreat shit. You entreat linked with both of your flashes. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Keep up.
Or the fire beat allow.
Drop it.
Oh, this is the wrong time.
Flash out!
Yeah, we're close enough again, bud.
There's three
There's definitely
mid.
people on the north side though.
Enemy spotted B.
Watch the birds.
Enemy spotted B.
Said watch the birds and then you scared them.
Spike down B.
That's me.
Do as I say, not as I do.
One more jet, Jenny.
Last player standing.
Hey, at least you scared them.
Going up! Flash! Watch your eyes!
Oh, yep, told you. Oh, yeah. Mhm, yep, great. Told you there were guys
Defenders
north.
win.
Two different players, by the way. One Mosin.
Got shot by 2 different players.
Yep, I got two tapped by two different people. There's a whole team all the way out there.
Yeah, holy fuck, and they're already burning him.
That's fine. Does anybody have a choke beetle? Well,
Nope.
just me.
Man, you're really far out there.
I told you they were north.
Why are they
Right.
fucking out there?
Holding extract, maybe?
There's no extract up here.
Well, they'd have to run east to get to extract.
Springfield, Crag, and Mosin Obras, I think.
Why'd they rotate that far out?
All the way to the ground, Joey. All the way to the
Yep.
ground.
Slytherin! Oh, he got it. He's very far. You might be able to get to Seth.
Or at least choke if you can. Nice. Saved a small bar. I have one big and one small.
I was on the other side of the hill as me.
I was gonna say I couldn't tell you.
One of the bounties is pushed out, I think. Splashing near Joey.
There's a guy literally right on top of me. Oh, Seth got put out? Good.
What happened to my mouse? What the fuck?
They're both on me.
Yep, they're coming around the rock. I'm gonna get shot from behind.
Oh my god, how'd I miss that? I don't know how I missed the headshot on that guy. It's so freaking annoying.
How's he not dead? Oh my god. It's amazing.
Was this the team fighting the bounty team?
They weren't
I
even
don't know.
shooting the bounty team, they're just sitting out here.
Now the bounty team's literally just hanging out in town. Like they're not
Oh
fighting
my
nobody.
god. The bounty team has a dead person all the way out there. That's why they're so far out.
Oh, now another team just pulled in to fight the bounty team.
I was like, why are
That's
these
so
people all the way out here? There was a dead bounty team completely burned out all the way north like that.
Annoying.
I'll be back on later then, guys. I gotta cut grass. I'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah, you cut that grass.
Hell yeah.